Peripheral neuropathy is when there's damage to the nerves in your body, and these nerves are really important because they let you know when you've touched something too hot or too cold, or if maybe there's no blood going to that part of the body, so your hand or your arm or your leg might go tingly. And so this type of symptom or side effect from chemo and cancer treatment is unfortunately not that uncommon. But I was someone who had never experienced it. I never had it during chemo, and so I thought I'd never have to worry about it. So last week I was trying to make a soup, and normally I like to make it a little bit spicy, and I usually put some chili flakes in there because I know how many chili flakes kind of translate to how much spiciness. I kind of understand that ratio because they're just simple dry chili flakes. But this time I had some fresh chilies from my parents' garden. My mom really likes hot chilies, and so I was thinking I had better be careful with this chili because it's probably incredibly hot, even though it's really little, which might actually mean that it's even more hot. And so I cut a tiny little piece, and it was really, really little, and I just put it against my lips and my mouth and just taste tested it, and it was incredibly hot and too hot to put this whole thing in. So I had to make sure that I only cut a little bit and only put that into the soup. But because the tiny little bit had some of that chili oil, which is really potent, that set my lip crazy. It was just so hot, and so I had to put ice against my lip, and it died down maybe after an hour or something like that. I was talking to someone else on the phone, a friend, and that was really nice, and I didn't really mind. I was like, oh well, this is just a bit of, you know, heat and it will go away. But what happened next was really strange, because as soon as the burning in my lip died down, this finger just started to burn from the inside. It was incredibly painful, and it kind of affected a couple of them. But so because my finger was burning so much, I was trying to understand, did I touch the oven with it by accident and there was no marks on it? I tried to understand if somehow I rubbed chili on it. I definitely didn't rub any chili, and the skin on our hands normally isn't that sensitive to react to that. To chili like that, and it's not like I had any cuts or wounds on it. And a couple of days ago I had burned myself on the oven, and I have like a little wound just here. It's really little, it's pretty much all gone now, but I could see that I had evidence that I had burned myself, and there was no evidence on my fingers. And then when I was trying to think about it, I was trying to think, why on earth would my fingers be burning? Because whenever I thought about peripheral neuropathy, I thought about this weird like tingling sensation or maybe tightness in the muscles. I didn't realize that burning instead of like numbness or tingling could be a version of peripheral neuropathy until I looked it up. And I know this is really minor, like the peripheral neuropathy thing that I experienced was very little. It only happened once, and all I had to do was put ice on it, and then the next day it was fine, it was gone, and it was very easy to manage. So I know that there are probably people who are experiencing much worse, and you know, I feel for you and I hurt for you, and I'm sorry for that, even though I don't personally understand exactly what you're going through, and I don't pretend to. But just that experience for me, having this just reminding me that yeah, you went through chemo, you had cancer, and it's not 100% over. Like obviously I can't keep my mind back there and think about all that stuff that happened, but at the same time, like, it's still part of me. Like I have to carry that damage with me for the rest of my life, and hopefully I won't have too many more of these kind of side effects, and hopefully the delayed symptoms and side effects or whatnot is minimal, but they're there. And I got reminded of that last week. And it's just sad to realize that you have nerve damage, to kind of like acknowledge that chemo's done even more damage than you thought it had really originally done. And I hadn't realized that peripheral neuropathy could come later. Like I just thought that if I had that symptom, or that was going to be part of, I guess, my experience, it would have happened during chemo, because that was kind of when, you know, my body was being assaulted with all these drugs and I guess the damage. But it doesn't always work like that, I suppose. And sometimes there are delayed side effects, and this can be one of them. Although I think for some people it can also like disappear over time as the nerves can heal. And if you notice that there's some kind of trigger for that event, if there was something that happened and then afterwards you got the peripheral neuropathy and there's maybe a pattern there, or something that's really explicit and really obvious, like mine, it was the exact same sensation, but and shortly after, but just in a different part of my body, then it's obviously important to try to avoid that kind of thing, or become mindful of it, or try to manage whatever thing kind of set it off. So I obviously won't be eating very hot chilies or even tasting them anymore. But now I know to avoid very, very hot food, and also maybe very cold and very hot things to touch. So it was a little thing, and obviously during it I was a little bit scared. I was like, what is happening? But once I realized what it was, it just made me a bit sad, as I realized that, hey, yeah, this is another thing that chemo did to your body, and you just have to live with it now. So, have any of you experienced some kind of delayed side effect like this? Please write your thoughts and stories down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Okay, bye. Rather than talking about how crappy anxiety can be after chemo and cancer, I thought I'd talk about the ways that I've actually managed it.